Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to Fred Achando channel. Now, in this video, we want to take a moment and look critically at Sagana 3 meeting that took place yesterday. We all know that this had been the talk of the day. In fact, it was really trending. Kenyans and all the journalists had been waiting for this moment. And yes, it came. It happened. The speeches and all the people who attended. But then there is one question. If you are a fanatic of President Uhuru Kenyatta, after that Sagana 3 meeting, are you happy? Did it meet your expectations? This is what we want to try and look at. In trying to look at what happened in Sagana yesterday and whether it met the expectations of the supporters of the Jubilee wing that is supported by the president, we only want to look at about one or two things. And the first one is, what was the main reason why Sagana meeting was convened? And it is crystal clear, if you've been following politics in Kenya, that this meeting was convened to diffuse what is now in the minds of many Uhuru Kenyatta supporters a fallacy. Fallacy that has been, or this narrative that has been peddled by the Tanga group. And so, this is the reason why the president convened this meeting to explain his side of the story. And so we want to try and look at, is there cause for worry to the Tanga group? And yes, there is a big reason. In fact, as we speak, there is panic in the Tanga, or what we call the Kenya Moja group. Let us go straight to the Sagana meeting and try and look at it critically and demystify a few things. But before I go deeply into what happened yesterday, if you're watching my channel for the first time, I want to humbly request you to take a moment and subscribe. Just click the subscribe button and then the notification. Click subscribe, notification, and then all. So that next time we do a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Number one, why this meeting was successful is this: the numbers that thronged the Sagana State Lodge. You see, a few days before yesterday, or before this meeting, the Tanga group had gone to Nyeri, because remember, the Sagana State Lodge is located in Nyeri County. And so what William Ruto and his brigade did is that before this meeting, they went to Nyeri and did some PR thing. They took, there was a photo that was actually posted on the Tanga Facebook page of a number of defectors, MCAs, and they say that out of I think 30 MCAs, 20 of them had defected from Jubilee to UDA, and they said that these included the speaker of that county and the deputy speaker. And I remember there was a caption, and Rigathi Gachagua said that we have taken everybody in Nyeri, and therefore, Mr. President, if you are going to Nyeri, you are going alone. And so there was this notion that William Ruto is in control of Central, is in control of Nyeri, so much that the president would not have the numbers. In fact, Rigathi was so proud when he was parading the people who had defected. But then there is another photo that had been trending. There was a crowd that was walking towards Sagana State Lodge. It was like an exodus. That photo has been trending. And then it is being said that as early as 5 a.m., supporters of the president had arrived at Sagana State Lodge, and there was this security had a difficult time trying to control, this crowd. If you listen to the president when he started his speech, he was actually shocked. He said it himself that he was expecting 5,000 people. But the number, according to him, because he said, looking at the number inside this hall, we are more than 20,000, excuse me. And so there is a cause to worry. There is panic because William Ruto and his brigade had indicated that there were not going to be, people are not going to attend that meeting. And it was thrown to capacity. Actually, they were almost overwhelmed. Number two on this point is the mood of the people. You see, you can carry people and ferry them to your rally, like some other politicians do. But then you look at the mood of the people. The people who thronged that hall were so happy, they were jovial, there was a lot of jubilation. All through the meeting from the start to the end, they could cheer up the president, give him a standing ovation, and there were interludes of music and they were dancing and they were ever happy. And whoever watched that meeting, it was amazing. In fact, the president scored very highly. And so number one, like I said, he had the people and the people were very, very happy. When the president started or began his speech, he started by saying that I have called you here to speak my heart, to speak out my heart. You see, when a person begins his speech like that, he captures the attention. And so he said, I want to speak my heart. It was widely expected that he was going to explain, among other things, why he fell out with his deputy. And then another thing that he said that many people expected that he was going to insult his opponents, but he indicated that he's now an old man and, he was not going to engage in insults. And so what he was trying to say is that he had matured for the period that he was a president so much that he could not engage, in insult. And in fact, he was saying that matusi tumeachia hawa wengine. There are several things that he said that he was taught by his parents that he never insults. But he was also pouring out his heart. He said that in the past he had insulted Raila Amolo Odinga and many other people, but now he has reformed and even said that they had, asked for forgiveness from God. And in his speech, he really targeted the youths. I remember he was telling the youths that it is true you are being told that you need more development programs. And I've heard you saying that you need more. And he said, yes, it is true. Every Kenyan citizen would, want more. But there was a caution. The president passionately appealed to the youths. He told them that especially you, the youths who were born in the year 2002, ask your parents and they will tell you where we have come from. Because, in his speech, the president was saying, we have come here, to talk about where we have come from, where we are, and where we are going. Of course, it was Kikuyu, but we looked for translators. And in many channels, the Kikuyu channels, they tried to translate to us what it really meant. So, it had been, there is this notion that the deputy president has his support base with the youth, that the youth, the majority of his support from Central are the youths. And so the president was really appealing to the youths, and his speech was targeted to the youth. And he told the youth that these people come with a lot of lies. They don't want to tell you the truth. And in fact, he praised the youths. He said that the youths are intelligent, but they do not know raw facts. They don't have the truth as it is. And so he appealed to them not to rush, that they should look at where they have come from, where they are. He told them, for example, that sometimes back before Kibaki came into power, their parents used to sell, pyrethrum, tea, and all these other products to educate them. But then when Kibaki came to power, there was free education. And so he was just telling them that for the 24 years that Moi was in power, life was not that easy. And that after Kibaki came to power, it changed a bit, and that when he took over from Kibaki, he expanded and extended the development programs. So in a way, he was appealing to the youth and telling them that they should not think, someone should not come and tell them that, things have not been done for the 5 years. He was telling them that maisha ni mosmos, that it is a gradual change, that it's something that can be seen. And in a way, he was telling them that they should be very careful with this kind of cheap money handouts where someone comes and tells them that they should take this. And so the youth in jubilation listened to him. As he was talking to his people, the president kept on asking, is it true, my people? He kept on calling them my people. And if the youth could listen to the president the way they did, and they take this message out there, I can assure you that a number of them could be baptized, and they could start, following the president. Because one of the major reasons why he convened this meeting is to make sure that he's in charge of his region. The other thing that the president succeeded in doing is to diffuse this notion and this narrative that he had neglected his people, that in Central Province they were still languishing in poverty, that for the period that the president has been at the helm of power, he has done nothing, he has abandoned them. And the president was very passionate about this. He was asking that, it is like he was saying that the Tanga group, for the better part of his government, held the agriculture docket. I think he was referring to Mwangi Kiunjuri, and maybe for the period that Ruto was in charge of the agriculture docket in the Kibaki government. And so he was asking, in a way, the president was exonerating himself, asking, who should be blamed for the failures in agriculture? Is it me or them? And the crowd, responded, it is them. And he even, paraded also to say the current minister or cabinet secretary for agriculture, Peter Munya. And he said that for only 1.5 years that Munya has been in power, several things. Let me just, because I looked at them, he said several things, let me just refer. He said that for the 1.5 years that Munya has been in power, that the coffee farmers now have market. There's a market for coffee. And he said that tea farmers now have fertilizer. He said that the milk farmers used to have a guarantee of 35 shillings. Now it is 45 shillings. He said that farmers, the pyrethrum farmers in Molo, Nakuru, and all the other places now have a market for their products. He even said that there were factories that had stalled, but for the 1.5 period that Peter Munya has been at the help of the docket, that the factories have been resuscitated. And one funny thing about the president is that as he was mentioning these development projects, he was asking people, is it true, my people? And they were overwhelmed. They were saying it is true. And from where I sit, I want to be convinced that the president was speaking out his heart, and that whatever he was speaking is true. And so the nation that the president has neglected the central people was actually diffused. And so from today onwards, you will see not much of the talks surrounding Uhuru Kenyatta neglecting and abandoning his people. You know, the Tanga group is very clever, and they are going to switch to another narrative. Perhaps it is going to be, bring down the prices of foodstuff. The president also took this opportunity to promote the Jubilee Party. He was asking, those were saying that Jubilee is dead. Ask them where, I think he was talking about when he took over from Kibaki, he inherited a 3 trillion economy. And he was bragging, he was very proud that now he has worked so hard that whoever he will hand over to will check an economy, or where we are today, we have a 13 trillion economy. And so he was saying that this is part of the Jubilee progress. He even talked about, let me just refer to this, about 12,000 kilometers of roads that he had connected. And the president also talked about that when he took over power, only 28% of the Kenyan households was connected to power. And now he says it is 78%. He talked about when he took over power again, there were only 50,000 something title deeds. But now he has distributed over 5 million title deeds. Among other things, the president talked about 144 irrigation and river projects that he has done, perhaps in central and Kenya as a whole. And he talked about railway and hospital that he has completed. And the people were in jubilation. They actually agreed with the president. And I was watching Citizen yesterday when the journalists went around to, just look at, they were doing a postmortem of the president's speech. And even those who do not subscribe to the president's choice agreed. Most of them were saying that, yes, we agree the president has achieved much in terms of development, but let him not show us where to go. So, this tells you that even those who thought that the president has done nothing now agree that, yes, the president has achieved a lot. And so, even if they're saying that he should not tell us who to vote for, but they now agree that the president did something, and this is a loss. The Tanga group has lost, and there is panic in their camp because the president demystified this nation, eloquently explained what he has done. The president gave a chronological events of what took place between him and his deputy. The president said that they started well, but after the 2017 elections, the elections were contested and people were fighting. And that's something that the president said. It was like he was telling them that all this while people were fighting, he kept on wondering what he should do. So he thought he should, talk to Raila so that they can iron out their differences. But when he mentioned this to Uhuru, even without mentioning names, it is like he was saying that he mentioned this to his deputy, William Samoei Ruto. But William Samoei Ruto and his group opposed this. And the president said that he told them, Kangumu, we have the government, we have the police, Kangumu. And the president asked his people, he was explaining in a way that when you tell me to sit pretty because we have the government, I have security around me. I have security around my family in my home. The deputy president has a lot of security. But you people, you the common man, do not have security. You kept on butchering each other. And he was saying that if you think I'm lying, ask those who have kiosks in Kibera, in Kawangware, in Kisumu. And he was saying that this touched his heart. That even if he decided to sit pretty, Yes, he was safe, but what about his people? He was trying there's a question that he gave out that, did you elect me just to sit in the office or to protect you? And they said to protect. And so in a way, the president was portraying William Ruto as a man who is power hungry, who would do anything to gain power at the expense of his people. Because he was explaining that his people were dying, but Ruto and his people kept on telling him, do not talk to the opposition. Let people die as long as we're in power. And this really appealed well to his people. And I'm telling you that after that speech yesterday, very many people were persuaded that this is the reason why the president abandoned his deputy. He went further and explained that when he called Raila Amolo Odinga for a talk, from the start, he kept on updating his deputy, even though the deputy was very, reluctant about it. He even said that the day he went to Harambee House to shake hands with Raila Amolo Odinga, the last person he met before he got into Harambee House was his deputy. And in a way, he was portraying his deputy as a liar, a man who is peddling lies to his people. And the president did something to make sure that he presented himself as a very, consistent man. The consistency, he started saying a long time ago that, we met with Raila, we did not agree about dishing out positions, I told William Ruto. And this is what he said, because all the way from the start, the president kept on saying that we have to separate truth from lies. And so he presented himself to the people as a very honest man, a man who was speaking out his heart. He told William Ruto, but William Ruto came to deny. And so he was trying to demystify this Ruto as power hungry, a man who is full of lies, that he wants to get to power like by a lot of fallacy and selling lies. This again is not working well for William Ruto, and it is going to make sure that very many people are going to think twice about supporting him. The other thing that the president did is that he endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga. Very many people, like the Tanga group, they knew what was going to happen, and they wanted to spread fear. They had started you should not try to sell us mtu wa kitandawili, and they thought that perhaps the president would shy away from mentioning Raila Amolo Odinga and asking publicly his people to endorse Raila. And the president was very careful. Before he asked his people to endorse Raila, he gave them, like I said earlier, a chronological event of what happened. He even said that after they had agreed with, they came to a negotiating table with Raila, he told Raila that I have a pact with my deputy, and I cannot give you anything. You are not going to form part of the government. And said that they agreed that they were going to make sure that they bring peace. They are going to talk to their people so that they stop this kind of, fighting the post-election violence that was going on. And he said that they succeeded. He even said that right now, if you go to Kibera, if you go to Kawangware, there is peace. He even said that if you go to Kisumu, you will be told Erokaman or something of that kind. But he's saying that William Ruto started campaigning immediately after the 2017 polls, while he kept on pleading with him to stop the campaigns and deliver their pre-election promises to the people. Ruto defied him and kept on campaigning. And he said that this did not augur well with him, and that is why he decided that they should now work together with Raila Amolo Odinga. There was a mention of the projects that he accomplished in his first term in office vis-a-vis what he did in the second part. And he was saying that if you compare, in that meeting, there was this person who was even saying that they had only done about 1,000 and something kilometers, but did now more than 3,000, I think, in the second term. So he was telling his people that I did much, I accomplished much in my second term when we were with Raila Amolo Odinga. he asked his people that they should unite together. In fact, I remember him saying that a house divided is like a house built on nothing but sand. It is like he was telling his people that if we are not united, we are not going to achieve what we want. And even said that when a house is united, they can live to fight another day. In a way, he was telling them that even if we do not have a presidential candidate from our community, we can live to fight another day. Maybe 2022, we can have one of our own. And he endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga. He asked his people to, support Raila Amolo Odinga. And he said that what an old man can see while sitting down, a youth cannot see while, climbing maybe a tree or something of that kind. And so there is panic in Ruto's camp because right now, those who are there are going to spread this request. They're going to ask their people to support Raila Amolo Odinga because it is now very clear. There were allegations. Maybe he could not, maybe there were worries, but now it is very clear and it is very official. The president has asked them to support Raila Amolo Odinga. He said that if the people are listening to him, they are going, to heed to his request. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I therefore think that there is a lot of panic in Ruto's camp. The president has laid a foundation to finish his deputy. He has now come out fully. He explained that for 5 years he was busy giving Kenyans what he promised them. But right now it is political season and the campaigns are on and is coming in full swing. If you ask me, behind the jovial facade that the countenance that Ruto is giving us, there is a lot of panic in their camp. They are very afraid, they are worried, they are very nervous. And so let us wait and see what happens. In my next video, I'm going to do what next for William Samoei Ruto and his camp after the Sagana meeting. And you will join me as we try to diffuse. Tell me what you think about this. Those are my points. You will tell me. Let us keep on this conversation. Please, if you're watching, subscribe so that you can get this video first hand. Thank you for watching and have a good evening.